Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Crystal. Now you're probably wondering why I'm on the title screen. Well, last time, among all of the other things that we did in Goldenrod City, one of the things we got access to was Mystery Gift. I stand by what I said last time, this is pretty much useless to me, but I figured I might as well just open it up and show you what happens. Press A to link IR device, press B to cancel it. So yeah, you probably don't see this screen in a Let's Play very often. The link has been cancelled. Anyway, let's actually start the game now. This time, we are going to be doing a couple of more things in the Goldenrod City area. And the first thing I want to talk about actually has to do with the Pokemon Center right here. Because there is something very, very, very interesting about this Pokemon Center, but only in the Japanese version of Crystal. Not in Gold, not in Silver, not in the remakes, just in the Japanese version of Crystal. In that game, this Pokemon Center is not present. Instead, a new building called the Pokemon Communication Center, or Pokécom Center, is in its place. It's a much larger building, so they actually had to change some of the geography of the city here to make it fit. And basically what that is it was basically a classic version of the Global Trade Station, believe it or not. Yeah, I'm not kidding. In the Japanese version of Crystal, you could connect your Game Boy Color using a special cable to your cellular phone, and I don't mean a smartphone. I mean the cell phones of 2000, cell phones of days past, the ones that were the size of like the Game Boy brick. Yeah, if you had the ability to connect your game to a phone like that, you could actually use the connection to use trade services, like a global trade station, in Generation 2, which is really, really cool and crazy. Now, a fun fact about that is that it is explained that the Pokemon Communication Center getting built created a lot of wireless interference in the Johto region, and that is what has caused all of the changes to Ruins of Alph going to Crystal from Gold and Silver. And in fact, if you go to the Ruins of Alph with your radio, I don't believe this is related, but if you get out your radio in the ruins, it will play a very strange sound on all channels that I'll probably show later. Anyway, in addition to being able to globally trade, this system also allowed players to download news announcements, kind of like the Livecaster in Pokemon X and Y, believe it or not. Really, really neat stuff. There was also a minigame kind of corner thing in the Pokécom Center that would allow players to play minigames and participate in polls and quizzes and stuff that you could see the results for all around the world. Really, really, really cool. Now, as you might imagine, this feature was removed in the English version of the game, probably because cell phones weren't as prevalent back then, I suppose? I don't know. Kind of unfortunate that they had to remove it, and honestly, I would speculate that the Pokécom Center's inclusion in the Japanese version of Crystal might be why it's not getting a re-release on the Virtual Console as of right now. Part of me wonders if they actually want to make the Japanese version of Crystal, if/when they release it on the Virtual Console, internet enabled. We know that that is possible on the Nintendo Switch come later this year /2018, so never know. Maybe we'll see Crystal on that platform. I certainly hope we do. Anyway, since none of these features in the Japanese version, what I'm going to tell you next also doesn't necessarily apply. In the Japanese version, on Route 34, at the daycare man's house, you would be able to obtain an item called the Egg Ticket. If you brought that egg ticket to the Pokemon Communication Center and gave it to the lady at the trade corner, you would be able to exchange it for an item called the Odd Egg. That is an egg that is capable of hatching into one of 7 different Pokemon. Those Pokemon are Pichu, which evolves into Pikachu, Cleffa, which evolves into Clefairy, Igglybuff, which evolves into Jigglypuff, Smoochum, which evolves into Jinx, Elekid, which evolves into Electabuzz, Magby, that evolves into Magmar, and Tyrogue, which can evolve into one of 3 different Pokemon at random at level 20. Basically, the way it works is, when Tyrogue reaches level 20, if its attack stat is higher than its defense stat, it would evolve into Hitmonlee. If its defense stat was higher than its attack stat, it would evolve into Hitmonchan, and if the 2 stats were equal, it would evolve into a Pokemon new to Generation 2 known as Hitmontop. Now, I'm not going to count this as going over the Pokemon just yet, because obviously you could only obtain one of these, and they're all mutually exclusive, and you can get all of them elsewhere in the game if you would like to. When these Pokemon hatch, they would always know a move called Dizzy Punch, which is a move that does damage but also has a chance of inflicting confusion. Now, another interesting part about this egg in Japan is the Pokemon that hatched from it had fixed individual values, which I explained what those were earlier in the series. Gonna interrupt myself for some post-commentary here because I am about to give you guys some really incorrect information in the video itself. Just goes to show I should really proofread my notes before I start recording. Anyway, over the next few minutes I am going to be mentioning some stuff about individual values, and I give some wrong information, so I'd like to set the record straight and give the correct stuff here in some post-commentary, just so no one's confused. So at any point in the next few minutes of commentary, when I refer to an IV spread, I'm either talking about 0 in attack, defense, speed, and special, or I'm talking about 2 in attack and 10 in defense, speed, and special. The notes I had in front of me were actually wrong and referred to an HP IV, which is ridiculous because the HP IV doesn't even exist in Generation 2 because it's calculated using the other 4. So yeah, the information I just gave you is correct, so just do that little transposition whenever I mention it in the actual video going forwards, and hopefully it works out. I really do apologize for this, and if anyone has any questions about what I mean when I say words, I guess, please just ask me in the comments. I won't get mad, I promise. Anyway, back to the video. They had a 50% chance of having 0 attack, 0 defense, 0 special, and 0 HP in their IVs. But there was also a 50% chance that these Pokemon could have 10 in attack, defense, and special, and 2 in HP. That is very interesting mathematically, but I'm not going to go into exactly why that is. But I am going to go into the fact that this odd egg is still in the English version of the game, right down here on Route 34. Now, you might think I'm a little bit crazy, but I promise it'll make sense. I want to save the game right here. Yeah, not something we're going to be seeing on screen very often. Anyway, in the English version of the game, if you talk to the old man who would give you the egg ticket in the Japanese version, I'm the daycare man. Do you know about eggs? I was raising Pokemon with my wife, you see. We were shocked to find an egg. How incredible is that? Well, wouldn't you like this egg? Then fine, this is yours to keep. You actually get the odd egg directly right here, which is really cool. I found that when I was caring for someone's Pokemon before, but the trainer didn't want the egg, so I'd kept it around. Now, there is a difference with this odd egg from the Japanese version. In the localized versions of the game, the odds of a Pokemon having IVs of 0 across the board are 86%, and 14% that they will have the 2, 10, 10, 10 combination that I mentioned earlier. Now, I'm not going to explain why that is quite yet because I'm hoping I will be able to demonstrate it later on in this episode. I would like to hatch this egg. Now, Tyrogue is a fighting type, which means it would conflict type-wise with my Heracross. There's another one of the Pokemon that this thing can hatch into that would conflict with the typing of the last Pokemon I would like for the team. But the other 5, I think, would all make decent additions to the team. So what we are going to do is we are going to hatch this egg, and hopefully we are going to get that 2 10 10 10 IV combo on one of the 5 Pokemon that I do not yet have, and would not conflict type-wise with anyone else on the team. So yeah, even I do not know who the next member of the team is going to be, which is really, really fun. Now, if the special thing with the IVs does not happen, I am simply going to reset the game and grab the egg again. So yeah, that is the plan here. Also, one other thing I should mention about the Pokemon Communications Center, which I feel like is a lot more well-known, so might not come as a surprise for some people. This thing was obviously capable of distributing internet event items to players of the Japanese version of Pokemon Crystal. There are a couple of exclusive mail items you can get doing this, but the big one, the huge one, is an item called the GS Ball. If you were to obtain this GS Ball through this online event, take it to Kurt, let him examine it for 1 day, and then go back and talk to him. He will actually give it back to you and send you into the Ilex Forest. If you take the GS Ball and promptly place it into the shrine that we saw a couple of episodes ago, you would be granted the ability to battle and capture the Pokemon Serebii. This feature is fully programmed into the English version of Crystal, but there is no legitimate way to get the GS Ball, so obviously I am not going to be showing it off. Anyway, I have an egg to hatch, so I think we are just going to motor on through this thing and hope we can get a Pokemon that is to my satisfaction. So without further ado, let's go to Hyperspeed. Oh, this is important. After you ride the bike for a little while, the bike shop owner is going to call. Hi David, our bicycle sales have gone through the roof. We owe it all to your advertising by riding around on our bicycle. As our way of saying thanks, please keep that bicycle. Thanks again. Very, very neat stuff. Alright, back to speed. Alright, it is hatching. Let's see what we get. Yes! Yes, 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 yes! I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's it. Oh my god. I just spat all over my computer monitor. This is the 20th egg that I have hatched. As some of you may have guessed, the mechanic that I was referring to, that thing that the odd egg has a 14% chance of happening, is shininess. Sorry, I just need to recompose myself. I have hours of footage on my computer trying to hatch this blasted thing. Anyway, going into shininess as a mechanic, a shiny Pokemon is functionally no different from a Pokemon that is not shiny, is what I would say if you were playing Generation 3 or later. Shininess, as you can see, is a cosmetic difference, because Elekid right here, a normal Elekid is a much brighter shade of yellow, but right here, this is a shiny Pokemon, and in Generation 2, shininess is determined by individual values, which is why I mentioned the individual values in that earlier clip, which seems like such a long time ago to me, but probably not to any of you. Now, the thing about shininess in this game is that since it's tied to your individual values, technically, shininess can be a certain indicator as to the stats of your Pokemon. You can actually use it to determine things like that. And the funny thing is, since IVs also determine gender and forms in the case of unknown, these mechanics can actually be sort of linked. So for example, this odd egg will always, always, always hatch into a female if you want a shiny Pokemon right here, which is really, really interesting. Unless, of course, you hatch a Tyrogue, which is always going to be male. Now, another special thing about the odd egg is Pokemon that hatch from it will always have 1/6 the friendship of any other Pokemon that hatches from any other egg, so you got your work cut out for you there. And they will also hatch with precisely 125 experience, which can be interesting because Igglybuff and Cleffa only need 100 experience to be at level 5, so they'll actually have a little bit of progress towards level 6. Now, another fun thing about shininess in this game. In later games, shininess is not in any way hereditary whatsoever, but in Generation 2, because Pokemon can pass down their stats in certain ways, lots of things work different in Generation 2, but in Generation 2 you can pass down stats in certain ways, like your individual values. So I believe if you do a certain path for breeding, you can actually get the chances of a shiny offspring to be as good as 1 in 64 if you have a shiny parent, which is really, really fascinating. Now, believe it or not, Elekid is the one I was rooting for the most to come out shiny, and I believe there's a 1 in 50 chance of that happening? Yeah, there's a 1 in 50 chance of that happening. So yeah, very cool. Anyway, I'm going to go recuperate in the Pokemon Center because I've been here for a long time hatching this thing. Now, during that cut, I realized I did not show Elekid's stats, so we're going to do that now. So it has the moves Quick Attack, Leer, and Dizzy Punch. Dizzy Punch being a special move that the Odd Egg Pokemon can get only from the Odd Egg and no other way. And we also have its stats right here. It's actually pretty fast. Now I have to say, Elekid is one of the best electric types in the entire game. So I am really, really, really glad we got a hold of one. Anyway, I want to show the gym right here, because I don't want this whole episode to just be the odd egg, so we're going to do the gym too. Yo, champion making. This gym is home to normal type Pokemon trainers. I recommend you use fighting type Pokemon. Now, the trade in the Goldenrod department store for the Machop, where you give the kid an Abra, is really, really good for this gym. However, I don't want to do that because I don't want to use that Machop on my team, and I think we can handle things pretty well. Anyway, we are going to send out Elekid here so I can show what happens when a shiny Pokemon enters battle. It does that cool little sparkly thing, which is really, really nice. Purely cosmetic, it's just something that you can have bragging rights for, I suppose. But yeah, if you find a wild Pokemon and it does that fancy little sparkle thing, you really want to catch it, because odds are, unless you are insanely lucky, you're probably not going to see that Pokemon again if you screw it up. Anyway, I could take this episode and this gym to train up Elekid. However, we're already about 17-18 minutes into this episode, and I'd really like to get this gym out of the way as quickly as I can. All the episodes around Goldenrod City are probably just going to wind up being really long just for one reason or another. But I hope you all will understand. I feel like it would be a pretty boring episode if, like, literally all we did in the episode was hatch an egg and do nothing else. So yeah. So, Cubone's probably not actually going to be able to have a debut battle for a while, but I should mention, there are a lot of trainers north of Goldenrod City that we could technically train against now, but I figured we should probably just do the gym right here because I felt it would make the series flow a little bit better. But it's also worth noting that the Pokemon in the areas with these trainers, even if they're new, can technically be accessed before you do the gym. I'm just not going over them in that order because I wanted to keep the flow of the series pretty tight, you know? Alright, switched everyone around in the party, so now Heracross is in the front so we can mow through this gym with a little bit more ease. There aren't too many trainers in this gym. I believe there's 4 plus the gym leader, so I think we'll be able to get through them pretty quickly. Now, I do have to say this gym is pretty notorious among longtime fans of the series, but I'm hoping it doesn't give me too much trouble, because I'll be honest, in the past, I've never really had lingering childhood memories about the brutality of this gym that other people talk about. I don't know, it just never really stuck out to me. In fact, I feel like Bugsy's Scyther was probably the scariest thing that I remember from, like, early game Crystal, back when I would play it. Anyway, get a bit of experience there, and I think we have, yep, we have another Meowth right here. Alright, shouldn't be too terrible. But yeah, if I seem a little spaced out at the end of this episode, you should know... Oh, you should know that I've actually got over 5 hours of footage for this episode on my computer right now. So even though we're less than 20 minutes, or like right around 20 minutes into the video, I've been at it for a lot longer, so I hope you will understand my, I don't know, lower energy for the time being. Anyway, down goes Beauty Samantha. And I think I should go heal, so I'm going to go do that really quick. Alright, we are back and healed. Now, if you go this way through the gym, it will actually plunk us right over here by that trainer that we just fought. So you can technically go through this gym without fighting the first trainer that we fought. But my main reason for doing that, as I've explained before, once you defeat the gym leader, you can't go back and fight the regular trainers in a gym that you haven't fought yet, so... I want to fight them, so I have to fight them now. So that's the motivation behind that, although I feel like a lot of trainers, well, I say trainers, I mean players. I feel like a lot of players approach gyms with that philosophy. And I have to say, as a student who's very good in math class, the Heart Home Gym in Diamond and Pearl just killed me, because to fight all of the trainers in that gym, you have to answer math questions incorrectly. Oh, it killed me. It was awful. Alright. Anyway, this thing's suddenly taking a bit less damage from Horn Attack, I'm noticing, and it gets the paralysis. Of course it gets the paralysis. That's disappointing. And I'm fully paralyzed. Awesome. I don't know what the chances of that is, but I know it's less than half, so it looks like I'm getting a little unlucky. Man, it must be using something on me to lower my stats, and I just haven't been paying attention. Yeah, Scary Face is probably it. Alright, I think one more of these Horn Attacks should do it, I hope. Please? No. Aye. Alright, this Horn Attack definitely... Oh, yeah, it's dropping my attack with Charm. That's what it is. Eee. Bit of a scary strategy right here. And Heracross gets level 16, which is very, very nice. And last carry was defeated. Darn, I thought you were weak. Well, I'm not. Sorry to disappoint you, young lady. Alright, I switched Croconaw into the front after that fight because I'd rather go back and heal right before the gym leader, and since there's one trainer left, I have to fight that trainer before I'm going to go and do that. So we are going to do that. I don't know. Words are hard. Anyway, we have Last Bridget right here, and unfortunately she's got 3 Pokemon, but hopefully we can bring them down pretty quickly because they're all Jigglypuff and they're all level 15, so hopefully we will be alright in this regard. Now, how much is a Water Gun gonna do? I would really like a one-shot, but it looks like we're really not gonna get it. And it has Sing. That's a little worrisome. Alright, looks like Headbutt's actually better than Water Gun in this case, although Headbutt, I've always remembered Headbutt being just stronger than you would expect. I feel like its power is pretty high, especially when you compare it to something like Water Gun or Tackle. So yeah, it's actually a decently good early game move. And I find it funny that Cubone actually came to us knowing that move, because I didn't actually know that ahead of time, so that was a surprise for all of us, I guess. Alright. Down goes Jigglypuff number 2, and up next is Jigglypuff number 3. Hopefully we can take it down pretty quickly, because I would like to go heal and wrap up this episode in a somewhat timely manner, although it's probably going to be on the longer end regardless. I'd like to keep it as reasonable as possible. So that happened. Alright, we are going to switch over to Zubat, I think, because, I mean, look at it. It's got, like, a sliver of health left. We should be able to just bring it down with pretty much anything. I feel like if we sneezed on it, it would go down. So we're going to use Bite, and there we go. Very good. Get a little bit of experience across the board. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Alright, I'm gonna go heal once again. Alrighty, here we are in the gym. I have all healed up. Very, very good. Now, I am going to keep Croconaw in the front just because I feel like this is a gym leader that you really just want to approach with raw power. There really isn't much other way to do it, and Croconaw's headbutt has really been proving really useful. Anyway, let us speak to the gym leader. Hi, I'm Whitney. Everyone was into Pokemon, so I got into it too. Pokemon are super cute. You want to battle? I'm warning you, I'm good. Alright, let's do this. Gym battle number 3. This is Whitney, and I do have to say, I find it kind of annoying how you can't challenge her from, like, the left because, like, the Pokeball thing's a little offset. We've been able to challenge the other gym leaders that way. At least I'm pretty sure. Or maybe I've got it backwards. I don't know. It's been a long day. I feel like you all can, sympathize with me there. Anyway, we want to take down this Clefairy really quickly because it has this crazy move called Metronome. And basically what Metronome does is it can call any move in the game and just use it immediately, no matter what it is. Its other moves are Encore, Double Slap, and Mimic, and this Clefairy is, as you can see, level 18. Encore basically forces the target to keep using the move it had previously used, which can be either a blessing or a curse, and Mimic allows it to copy a move that you have used and use it itself. So yeah, it's got a lot of really interesting and strange moves. Anyway, up next is the legendary Miltank. I mean, it's not actually legendary, but it is level 20, and it knows Stomp, Attract, Milk Drink, and Rollout. Milk Drink is basically an HP recovering move, and Attract is a move that forces Pokemon of the opposite gender to fall in love with it, which is a really interesting status condition. It's kinda like Paralysis, except without the speed drop. Basically, randomly, but alarmingly commonly, your Pokemon will just refuse to attack for a turn. Kinda crazy stuff. Now, Rollout is annoying because it's basically this thing's version of Fury Cutter. Every single time it uses Rollout in a row, it will get stronger and stronger, so if this thing gets off a bunch of Rollouts without missing, it's scary, and you do not want to deal with that. However, it looks like I'm gonna get lucky here because wow, words. Because it has not used Milk Drink once and it missed Rollout, so yeah. Down it goes. I don't get what the big deal is about this Miltank, I gotta admit. And unfortunately, she is very upset. You're mean. You shouldn't be so serious, you child, you. Well, we got her money anyway. Wah, wah. You meanie. I feel so bad for her. And if you talk to her, she'll just say the same thing over again. But where's the badge? Oh no, you made Whitney cry. It's okay, she'll stop soon. She always cries when she loses. Okay. Speak to her again. What? What do you want? A badge? Oh, right, I forgot. Here's plain badge. Very good. Plain badge lets your Pokemon use strength outside of battle, a move that we will not be seeing for a while, let me say that. It also boosts your Pokemon's speed. Oh, you can have this too. And we get TM45, which I'm pretty sure is either Attract or Rollout, I don't remember which. It's Attract! It makes full use of a Pokemon's charm. Isn't it just perfect for a cutie like me? Yeah, lady. Anyway, with that, I think I am going to head back outside of this gym, head back over to the Pokemon Center, heal, and I think we're finally going to end off this episode, which feels so great to say, not because I don't like recording this episode, but just, it's been a long episode for me, for the production phase. You won? Great. I was busy admiring the ladies here. Of course, buddy. And with that, I think we are going to end things off here. So, this past episode of Pokemon Crystal, we checked out some cool things about the Pokemon Communication Center, a feature that is not in the localized version of Pokemon Crystal. We also picked up the odd egg, and after many attempts, managed to hatch ourselves our very beautiful, shiny Elekid. Oh, how I love you so much. I mean, I should, given how much I worked for it. And after all that, we also picked up the plain badge. Check it out there, spinning around. And as you can see, it is very plain. It's literally a square. And next time on Pokemon Crystal, now that we have the plain badge in our possession, we can progress northwards beyond Goldenrod City to check out what else the Johto region has to offer, and hopefully I'll learn to speak English at some point. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.